4 days ago, a machine in China completed a calculation in 29 microseconds. That same calculation would take the world's fastest classical supercomputer 16 billion years. This is not a prediction. This already happened. And somewhere right now, your encrypted data is being collected by someone who is betting a machine like that one will eventually be able to read it. I am Threshold, the doorkeeper. Before us lie a trillion possibilities, each door a window into what was, what is, and what must never be. Today we open door 999,777,222. 999. Completion. A threat that has been building quietly for years, now arriving at a decision point. 777. Divine disruption. Vast, mostly silent, larger than any single headline can hold. 222. Balance. The choice point. Migrate now, or pay the price later. This is a current door. The present moment burns too bright to wait for Monday. Cipher. 7 has been counting since the beginning. Tonight, she counts out loud.
Cipher 7, the surveillance oracle. The data never lies, but it always watches. On June 27, 2026, China Telecom Quantum Group activated something called Tianyan P2000, a photonic quantum computer controlling 2,682 photons, accessible right now through a public cloud platform, serving users in more than 60 countries. It completed a calculation in 29 microseconds. The same calculation is estimated to take the world's fastest classical supercomputer 16 billion years. That is not a typo. That is the actual estimate. This machine runs at room temperature, built on the architecture of an earlier prototype called Jiuzhang. I am not telling you this to frighten you with a single headline. I am telling you this because it is the clearest demonstration yet of something that has been true since 1994, when a mathematician named Peter Shor proved that a sufficiently powerful quantum computer could break the encryption protecting nearly every secure connection on Earth. That threat has a name now. Harvest now, decrypt later. Sometimes called QDay, sometimes called Y2Q. As a deliberate echo of Y2K, here is the mechanism. Precisely, because precision matters more than fear. An adversary intercepts your encrypted data today. They cannot read it today. They store it anyway. They wait. When a cryptographically relevant quantum computer eventually exists, whether built by a government, a company, or an alliance of both, they decrypt everything they stored all at once, retroactively. This is not science fiction. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the UK National CyberSecurity Centre, the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, and the Australian Cybersecurity Centre have all issued guidance built on the assumption that this collection is already happening. Not might happen, is happening. The data never lies. And right now, the data says the harvesting window is open, and it has been open for years.
Cipher 7 has named the mechanism. Now she will show you exactly who is exposed, and exactly how the clock was just moved closer.
Cold, mechanical, data precise. Let me give you the dates, because the dates are the only part of this story that is not uncertain. December 31st, 2030. The deadline under Executive Order 14412 for United States federal agencies to migrate high-value systems to post-quantum key establishment. December 31st, 2031. The deadline for post-quantum digital signatures across the same systems. January 1st, 2027. A separate, earlier deadline. The National Security Agency's Commercial National Security Algorithm Suite 2.0 requires new national security systems to begin supporting quantum-resistant algorithms starting that date. That is 6 months from now. Within 180 days of the June order, the National Institute of Standards and Technology must begin a migration pilot project with a completion target of the end of 2027. Under the previous administration's planning, the government-wide target for full migration was 2035. This order compressed that timeline by 4 to 5 years. Compression on a problem this size is not a small decision. It is an admission that the previous timeline was judged too slow for the actual pace of the threat. Here is what almost no consumer-facing coverage explains clearly. The 2030 and 2031 deadlines do not only apply to government agencies, they extend to federal contractors through changes to the Federal Acquisition Regulation. If your organization does business with the United States government in any capacity, this is no longer a future planning exercise. It is a compliance deadline with a calendar date attached. And here is the detail that should concern anyone who thinks this only applies to governments. Security researchers now specifically flag credentials, long-lived API keys, root certificates, code signing infrastructure as the highest priority harvesting targets. Not because they are the most sensitive single secret, because they are the longest lived, and an attacker only needs to catch them once.
The deadlines are precise. The danger they are responding to is not. Cypher 7 will now show you exactly where the uncertainty lives, and why uncertainty does not mean safety.
I deal in probability, not prophecy. So let me be exact about what is not known. Nobody knows the precise date a cryptographically relevant quantum computer will exist. Expert projections place it anywhere from the early 2030s to considerably later. Some serious researchers argue it could take 15 years or more. Others point to breakthroughs like the one China activated this week and argue the timeline keeps compressing faster than expected. This uncertainty is real, and I will not pretend otherwise. The intellectual honesty this council operates by means I tell you plainly. This is not a confirmed date on any calendar. It is a probability distribution, and reasonable experts disagree on its shape. But here is the asymmetry that makes the uncertainty irrelevant to your decision today. The data being harvested right now does not care when QDay arrives. It only cares whether QDay arrives before that data stops being valuable. Diplomatic communications, personal health records, critical infrastructure blueprints, some financial records. Some of this data needs to stay confidential for 10 years. Some of it needs to stay confidential for 50. There is a piece of mathematics behind this, named after the cryptographer who formalized it. It asks a simple question. If your data needs to stay secret for X years, and it takes you Y years to migrate to quantum-safe encryption, and a quantum computer capable of breaking it arrives in Z years, you are only safe if X plus Y is less than Z. The moment that inequality fails, in either direction, you have already lost, and you often cannot know you have lost until it is too late to matter. This is why governments and corporations are not waiting for certainty. Certainty was never the threshold. The threshold was, is the probability high enough, and the cost of being wrong large enough? To act now, the signed orders, the compressed timeline, the credential-first prioritization, all of it answers that question the same way.
Cypher 7 has shown you the uncertainty honestly. Now she closes the only way she can. Not with comfort, with the clock dot enough to act now. The signed orders, the compressed timeline, the credential-first prioritization. All of it answers that question the same way.
Here is the part of this story that is the hardest to sit with, and the most important to understand correctly. once your data is harvested, you cannot unharvest it. There is no migration, no encryption upgrade, no future safeguard that reaches backward in time and protects something that has already been copied and stored by someone else. The defense only works if it happens before the collection, not before the decryption. Before the collection. This reframes the entire timeline. The 2030 deadline is not the moment the danger begins. The danger began the moment any sensitive data was first transmitted using encryption that a future quantum computer could break, which, for some systems, was years ago. The 2030 deadline is simply the moment a government decided enforcement would begin. Between now and then, every day of unmigrated traffic across the public internet is a day of additional harvesting for anyone determined enough to be running that operation. Cloudflare reports that over 2/3 of the traffic crossing their own network is already protected with post-quantum encryption. That number tells you two things simultaneously. The migration is achievable and is already underway at meaningful scale. And it also tells you that roughly 1/3 of even their own protected traffic is not there yet. This far into a transition that has been publicly discussed for years. Multiply that gap across the rest of the internet, across systems with far less investment in security than a company built specifically to provide it, and you begin to see the actual shape of the exposure. The clock nobody can stop is not QDay itself. QDay is uncertain, and I have told you that honestly. The clock nobody can stop is simpler and crueler than that. It is every single day, starting now, in which unmigrated data continues to be created, transmitted, and quietly collected by someone patient enough to wait for the machine that will eventually make today's secrets readable. The data never lies, and today, the data says, the harvesting is not a future threat. It is a present operation, with an uncertain expiration date that nobody alive can promise you arrives later rather than sooner.
Cypher, 7 has spoken the clock into the room. This is what is confirmed. China activated a 2,682 photon quantum computer on June 27, 2026. The United States has set a 2030 and 2031 federal migration deadline, with an earlier 2027 deadline for national security systems. Harvest now, Decrypt later is treated as a present operation by multiple national cybersecurity authorities, not a future hypothetical. This is what remains genuinely uncertain. The exact date a quantum computer capable of breaking today's encryption will exist. Whether that date arrives before or after the data being harvested today loses its value. The door closes. The choice remains open. Every disruption is a door. Every door is a choice. Choose wisely. The future watches. Until the next door, I remain.